Welcome to another episode of the INH show, talking about geek culture, news and lifestyle. And today we're catching up on a little bit of, old stuff here. We're talking about the Netflix original Daredevil series. So, Terrence, you've seen the show?
Yes. So it's a Netflix 13-episode TV series. And what can I say, man? It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I also agree.
Yeah.
So, very quickly, I recommend the show. You also recommend the show, I guess?
Highly recommend it. I thought they built up the character really well. I love the Kingpin in it as well.
Let's not get too far into it just yet.
I want to jump into it already. No, go.
Well, the first thing that kind of surprised me of this is that they tie it into the Marvel universe quite closely, don't they?
Yeah.
They mention New York.
Yep.
It's clearly set in this universe that the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they've established.
Yeah.
What do you think about the cursing and the violence and that sort of thing? Because straight up, that's the thing I want to touch on straight away.
Okay, so I had no problem with cursing. I never have a problem with cursing, depending on which words you use and stuff like that. But there's some that's over the line, right? But I think for what it is and the scenario that's always in, it probably makes sense. In regards to the fight scenes in it, oh my gosh, it's freaking awesome. Was it episode 2 when he was fighting in the hallway?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was episode 2 fighting. Oh
yeah.
Gosh, I love the fact that
it was like something out of the raid, right?
It was something. It's exactly something out of the raid. That's what it felt like. And the great thing about it as well is that it's not that he just got away with it unscratched or undamaged or anything like that. He does cop a bit of a beating as well. So
So the cursing, I think, is it's fine within the context of the show, but to put it into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I thought tonally it didn't quite fit for me. It was very dark, and it's a little. So I don't know how it fits into the cinematic universe.
But if it's very dark to begin with, wouldn't you think that cursing fits into it?
Oh, it does. But what I'm saying is that to put it directly into that Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was just a little bit weird. It didn't feel like it belonged into that universe, short of them just mentioning the New York incident. And I think there were a few other things to tie into the I'm sure they would have mentioned Thor and other superheroes like that. The violence, that's something else. It is very violent. It is bloody. There are bones breaking.
Yeah.
The sounds. The Kingpin.
He's awesome, right?
Yeah. Well,
Are you talking about the door scene?
Yeah, the door scene. Come on, now.
That was really cool.
What did you think of that? Did you not think that it was just very over the top and very brutal?
I thought it was cool. I
Cool?
liked it. It's cool in the sense of I like it for the character because let me say it this way. I don't know much about the Kingpin. I know who he is, what he does, all that sort of stuff, but I didn't know his backstory.
Well, I think the name kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think showing what his character is like, I don't know if they changed it quite dramatically in this TV series opposed to what the books used to be. I do like the way they've executed it on the TV series itself. He's basically, to me, I've taken it as he's one of those guys who from his mind, he's doing the right thing for his city. He loves his city. He wants to clean it up in any means necessary, right?
Well, they make the best villains, the ones that think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. So for me, I really liked his character, and he seems like, from what I gathered, he's a good guy, as in he's a good boy growing up and everything, but because of his upbringing, he's got a couple of, what's the word for it? Quirks, ticks, a bad...
He's clearly damaged. He's got...
Damaged, yeah. So when he flips out, he flips out. But besides from that, he's generally good, trying to do the right thing, trying to... Do you know what I'm sort of saying?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this Kingpin is great. I think they give him a lot of character, and you can sympathize with him.
Absolutely.
I think Vincent D'Onofrio is great, although he delivers everything very strictly.
He speaks funny. He does speak...
he does have a certain way of delivering it, but I think it's great.
I think he pulled it off, though.
I think he is a great foil for Daredevil. That scene where they are talking to each other for the first time, I think it's a great way to introduce the dynamic between the hero and the villain. Kingpin's great. I think most people, in fact, have said that he is... A lot of the success comes from this, from the Kingpin, and I find it hard to argue with that. What do you think about Daredevil himself? Was it Charlie Cox? Is that the guy?
I believe so. I think he executed the Matt Murdock / Daredevil character really well, but, and this is really silly.
But there's no Ben Affleck, right? That's what you're going to say.
No, not at all. I prefer him over Ben Affleck any day. However, I can't, when he puts on the mask, I cannot stand the bottom half of his face.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I think it's his lips and his chin. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is.
Wow, that's weird.
It's weird, right?
I think it looks really cool with the all black and the...
Oh, no, the costume looks really cool, but I just don't like his... I don't know how to explain it. I just don't like the shape of his chin and his lips. And I know that
chin and lips.
Yeah,
wow,
it's almost like he's pouting.
Specific.
I don't know. It's almost like he's pouting all the time or something. I don't know. He doesn't have a. Yeah, I know it's weird, right? It's weird, but yeah, every time I look at him, I'm just like, you know.
Well, you guys out there, you let us know if you had a problem with Charlie Cox's chin and lips and whatever else. No, I think it was really good. I was a bit. As you know, I'm a fan of the original Daredevil movie. Mm-hmm. It was very much of its time, but I think it was a good movie. This one is very much to me, it reminds me of the Frank Miller Daredevil series.
Right. Isn't it basically taken off that, though?
To some degree. I mean, it's dark, it's gritty, and it takes a lot of cues from it.
You raised up, when we spoke about this about a week ago, you raised up a really good point. It almost feels like it's a Marvel Knights comic book put into a TV series. Mm-hmm. For all you guys that don't know Marvel Knights, Marvel came up with a whole bunch of different sort of comic titles where they labeled it as Marvel Knights, and what
it was just a more adult version.
Yeah, adult, darker, grittier sort of comic book run.
Did they curse in that series at all?
I don't recall, but that being said, I mean, this is like that's a great way of saying it, the Marvel Knights sort of thing. I don't think this feel would work well in a film or a cinema, but as a TV series, it works really, really well.
It is making good use of the serialized format, right? Like you've got the backstory of Matt Murdock in one episode, you've got his relationship with Foggy, you've got the Kingpin's origin story.
I know
it's very complete.
I know they changed some of the characters around and stuff like that, their origins and stuff.
Did they?
A little bit, like the secretary, who she ends up dating and all that sort of stuff, the nurse character and all that sort of stuff, and who she ends up dating and all that sort of stuff. I know they've flipped it around a little bit here and there, but not to say that that's a major fault or a bad thing. I think it still works for what it is, if that sort of makes sense.
Well, it works so well that you actually went out and you bought a run of Daredevil, didn't you?
Yeah.
Based on what you saw.
Well, I bought a run, but prior to that, though, I did, going based on a couple of recommendations from like Rod, Alex, Luke, I did buy a couple of the trades to begin with, the digital trades. But after this TV series, I did want to read up more about it a little bit more. I've got a bit more of a, what's the word for it? Appreciation for the Daredevil character, because I mean, look, for someone who's
I've always thought it was cool, and that's part of the reason why I liked that first movie.
Really?
I thought it was cool.
Well, so wait, hold on. For me, a cool character is like Batman, you know.
Well, what makes Batman cool to you?
And that's the thing, right? He scares people. He's almost like an anti-hero, almost.
I agree with that.
And it's just the way he goes about everything. He always works things out. No matter what situation he's in, he comes out of it by brains opposed to muscle, right? 9 out of 10 times, sort of thing. There's a tactic. There's always a tactic around it. And with this Daredevil TV series, what I thought was really cool, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but it's almost like Daredevil is his persona is almost like the Batman in the Marvel universe, where people are scared of him because he's like jumping from building to building. He's scaring people. People are like shooting up in the air to see where he is, sort of thing. And you know what I mean?
To some degree, yeah. I mean, but they
you didn't think they executed that well? I think they did, the TV series?
No, they did. Don't get me wrong, they did. But to me, the appeal of Daredevil is always, well, first of all, he's got a pretty cool power. I think the heightened senses. He can read the ink off the page. He's got that the sonar sort of thing.
Sonar, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was done really well in the movie. So, but again, it's of its time.
Yeah.
But you have a guy he's a Catholic, but he dresses up as a devil.
So he's conflicted, right?
Yeah, he's conflicted. You know,
and that's really cool.
He doesn't want to kill. He doesn't want to become the criminal.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer by day, but he takes law into his own hands by night. You know, I just love these conflicted characters, and that to me was always the appeal of Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you have Frank Miller at his peak. You know, around when he was writing the book. So to me, I've always liked the character of Daredevil. I can only hope that this does great things for Daredevil. We know that there's going to be a second season now, correct?
Yes.
Or some way.
It'll be season 2. They haven't announced how many episodes. As far as I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I have to imagine it's probably going to be 13 episodes.
It probably will be, and you know what? With the way it went with the first season, with all the positive feedback, it didn't surprise me at all. Like after I finished watching it, I did say to Adam, I was like, dude, it doesn't surprise me if they make a second season for it.
Now, did Adam see this?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't.
I'm just wondering what casual people would have thought of it, because this is a great series, but I wouldn't freely recommend it to people.
Why?
Well, because it's violent. It's very violent. It's
but that's like an action
violence.
film. Any action film is violent.
Well, I mean, this is a TV series, but it is very violent, and bones breaking, and brains exploding.
That's so cool.
For you, maybe, but it's not for everyone. Okay?
It's not for everyone. Okay.
They do sort of downplay the superheroics of it, which I feel is pretty good. Would you be happy if this continues being on as a series and never becomes a movie, or would you rather they somehow insert Daredevil into one of the
I'd rather keep it as
coming up?
I'd rather keep it as a TV series.
I feel the same way. As much as I would like to see Daredevil visually on the big screen again, I just don't see it happening, and he probably benefits from that. I think this character is so rich, and you can do so much with him. Not to say you can't do a lot with the other characters, but I think this is one character that works well as a series. Well, one last thing, we spoke about the costume and the way it looked because we saw that picture.
Yes.
Last episode, he finally gets the horns and the red sort of costume. What do you think of that?
So on the visual picture, when we saw it, I was like, yeah, it looks cool. But when you see it on the actual episode itself and he's standing there and stuff like that, I was like, yes, now that looks like an awesome outfit. That looks like a awesome costume.
Actually, the silhouette of it is great, but when you look really closely at it, I thought now it's becoming less urban and gritty. It's now treading into superhero territory.
It is.
It's okay for me. Like, I didn't mind that, but
superhero territory, but like the Dark Knight, or it's like the Batman, the Christian Bale Batman costume, where he's got certain parts and there's a reasoning behind it, right? The costume he gets is it's knife proof or whatever.
I said the red part. Yeah. There's an explanation as to how
it's cool.
No explanation as to why he has horns. But,
so look, I really, I really like the look of it. I did not like the Affleck Daredevil suit, because it's just a leather jacket.
I thought that was alright, but again, it was of the time, of
the time it was cool.
They can't do that.
Yeah,
you couldn't get away with it now.
Fair call.
Well, what did you guys think of the Daredevil Netflix original series? I have to imagine that Netflix subscriptions have gone up based on this show alone.
I'm sure it has.
Please let us know on the Facebook page. Give us a like. Let us know what you think in the comment field below. Otherwise, keep your eyes on the INH show. We will see you all next week.